What's up, guys? Time for another Q&A. It is April 29th, 2019. Don't mind the big lump on my shoulder. I don't have a tumor on my trap. It's an ice pack, so all good. All right, so I had an open Q&A this week, and I'll go ahead and dive into some of the questions, or all of the questions. All right, so what should my carbs be at a month out from a show? Okay, well, this one, we got more context, got some photos, just general dietary stuff, cardio. Honestly, looking at the photos, my first impression is pick a later show, to be honest. Not that you couldn't be in decent shape in 4 weeks, but I mean, you're just not 4 weeks out condition. You mentioned eating fourth a cup of oats with a shake in the morning, half a cup of jasmine rice with scallops and shrimp post-workout. So that seems like your only carbs. There's not really any direct fat. So, I mean, and if you want to try to make it in on 4 weeks, just pull protein veggie. I mean, you're not going to lose muscle in that amount of time. Just pull everything out and go straight protein veggie. Definitely increase cardio. You're doing rowing and HIIT at night. I would absolutely be adding in some steady state cardio, or a lot of steady state cardio. I mean, you're going to have to really hammer if you want to be in any kind of okay shape in 4 weeks. So, but yeah, I would probably try to pick a later show if possible. All right, so next one. If you take exogenous insulin for a long period of time, will it make you insulin resistant? Is it dose dependent, or does it depend on how long you run it? How long can most people safely run exogenous insulin before needing a break? Answer is no, it will not. Okay, so eating, having high circulating glucose for a long time and overtaxing your pancreas will certainly make you insulin resistant. But if you take insulin, then that will not happen. However, obviously, if you're just eating in too large of a surplus, you're just going to get fat because that insulin's got to partition somewhere, and you could end up taking so much insulin that you have hyperinsulinemia, trying to match the amount of glucose. But no, I mean, if you're in a reasonable surplus and you're taking insulin to control blood sugar, then no, it will not. So you don't need a break. No. Insulin's used to treat diabetics, which are insulin resistant typically. So no, that's not how it works. But you could run into hyperinsulinemia, though it doesn't happen that often. I've never really seen blood work to show it, even people using a ton of insulin. So kind of take that for what it's worth. Okay, next question. Rep ranges in training. What's your methodology behind it? Goal is hypertrophy. Example, if you've been lifting in the 8 to 10 rep range for 6+ months, seeing some progress in hypertrophy, would you switch up the rep range simply because you've been at that same range for a while, especially if your lifts drop off and start sucking after the 10 rep range? Well, you kind of answered part of your question there. I mean, if you excel on that rep range, whether it be mentally, like you can mentally prepare yourself better for that rep range, or you just like it more and it's something you get excited for, then I don't see a reason to change it, especially if you're progressing. I mean, just in general, looking at the literature on rep ranges, it's huge. I mean, it's like, we can go as low as maybe 5 and probably up to 30. I mean, there's studies all over the place showing hypertrophy in all kinds of rep ranges. So, I mean, no, you don't have to change it. Certainly now, if your progression stalls, you could change the rep range as a way to reset progressions. Now you were progressing in the 8 to 10, you stall, so maybe you want to restart your progression in the 12 to 15 range and try to get stronger in that range. You're still going to, you're still going to grow. It's just you have a new stimulus there and you can restart. And you can move those rep ranges all around, change exercise selection, so things like that. But there wouldn't be like any big benefit for changing rep ranges if you're doing good in that rep range and you enjoy it. So those would be some things that would determine where you might, train rep wise. All right, after being on a high fat diet, how fast should you incorporate carbs? they added that carbs were below 50 grams. Well, just from like a digestive standpoint, you know, you are going to be utilizing some different digestive enzymes and things that probably are a little bit dormant, a little bit downregulated, for lack of better words. And slowly, I mean, one meal, you know, start a meal at a time. If you want to do real simple, then start adding in maybe intra-workout, and then go to the next time that you're going to be able to partition carbohydrates very efficiently, so you can post-workout. So those would be the easy places, kind of test the waters and see how you feel digestion-wise. I mean, I'm assuming that you've had carbs before at some point, so you probably know what digests well, but just the fact that you have not had these foods in a long time, and that's not just carbs. I mean, that can be a lot of things food-wise. You're introducing new foods. So just say maybe one meal, and, you know, one meal at a time, you know, maybe 25 to 50 grams, and slowly ramp it up, and you're going to kind of see where your tolerance is. And probably if you're trying to get into a calorie surplus, maybe just work primarily with carbs, at least at first. You get a decent amount back into the diet, and then you can potentially manipulate something else if you wanted. All right, so have you seen any anecdotal evidence that too low of fat, 25 to 50 grams, has a detrimental effect on someone in a growing phase, decreased recovery, inflammation, increased soreness, for example? Well, I wouldn't call 50 grams low. I mean, yeah, tons of people eat way more than that in a growth phase, especially. Even 25 grams, I mean, you could still get all your essential fatty acids in there, and you're probably going to be all right. Might make the diet a little difficult, depending on what your protein sources and carb sources are, though, keeping fat that low. But I mean, even those, you should be able to get your essential fats in there, so there probably wouldn't be anything overly detrimental if the rest of your diet as a whole isn't super inflammatory. But yeah, I mean, quality fat sources definitely help with inflammation, and, you know, and there's cardiovascular benefits and various things. So, but that number isn't like super low. Now, I just base it on digestion. Like, I obviously get essential fats in there. If someone digests fats well, we'll push them up. If not, then we'll just try to get the essentials in there and push up carbohydrates, protein, etc. So, no, I don't think you're going to have any major issues in that arena. All right, so GH injection timing, fasted or on an empty stomach. I've read is best. What's the rule of thumb for meal times, meal types, before and after shots? Going to try GH soon. My schedule has me nervous when it comes to doing this one shot because my only time is after work, which is all around my peri-workout. Then before bed, within 30 minutes of my carbs. Since eating so close to bed, I should preload a shot, take it in the middle of the night perhaps, or upon waking. Well, I don't know what the application is. First, that would make a difference. Application, like for hypertrophy, yeah, overlapping it with insulin production, whether it's endogenous or you're taking exogenous insulin, is not really a big deal. There's a synergy there. Now, for fat loss, you want to be in a low insulin environment so you can release free fatty acids and, you know, get the benefit. You can burn them off. So ideally, it's going to be usually first thing in the morning and try to stay fasted for a few hours, get some kind of non-glucose intensive activity, which is normally, you know, steady state cardio for a lot of people. Could be something else. And then you could maybe squeeze in another one in the middle of the night or at night, just depending on like how long you stay fasted. I say at least a few hours in there to get a good free fatty acid release, though you could certainly go longer if you wanted and get benefit. Now, in a hypertrophy situation, again, doesn't make a lot of difference, really, to be honest. Like, it can overlap with insulin production. It's not a big deal. Generally, I'm just like talking in general terms. I don't know the context, so. All right, last one, it looks like. Thoughts on knee wraps. Haven't used in 2 years. Felt a little rickety the other day, so I used them, and my legs were nice and sore next couple days. Well, in all honesty, I'm not a huge fan of using them all the time, just because they may mask some kind of tracking issue with your knee, and they can like kind of push your kneecap around and do some weird things and cause shearing force and stuff. Yeah, you can rebound out of the bottom. People lift more with them and they feel better because they can rebound and get them really tight, you know. But if you have poor activation or chronic knee pain, then maybe source that. If you know, figure out like where down the chain that's coming from. Is it something around your quad or your hamstring, or is it up in your glute or in your hips or tight ankles, or you know, what is it? And then work on the activation issue. You really shouldn't need the knee wraps. The knee wraps are more of a performance thing. A powerlifter is going to tell you, hey, I'm going to wrap these really tight, get these stiff knee wraps so I can rebound, you know, get some deload out of the bottom, or rebound, or whatever you want to call it. So for a bodybuilder, no, not really. Not really a big fan of them, though. Like knee sleeves are probably all right. I use those a lot just because they like keep a lot of blood in there and keep everything warm. Put a little icy hot on the knee, put the wrap on, gets nice and warm, everything feels good. But they don't really have much rebound, maybe a little bit, but it's not like wrapping it and moving my kneecap around or anything. So that's kind of my take on the knee wraps. All right, guys, that is it for this week. Thanks for the questions, and we'll talk to you guys next time.